What's up, everybody? This is Ben and Adam from Next Level. We are at Heroes and Villains Fan Fest, New York, New Jersey, or across the street, rather, from Heroes and Villains. Now, we're in, what hotel is this?
A hotel.
The Embassy Suite.
It's the Embassy Suite.
I think you might get some money for that.
Let's hope.
Giving them a plug.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
We try to. We do that as often as possible.
So nice in here.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful hotel. Complimentary drinks after 5 p.m. This is...
Is that true? We might have to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Why couldn't we do this after 5 p.m., Drew? You could have been drinking.
That's right.
But we are joined by a former guest of the Showcast, Drew Powell from Gotham. This is awesome that we're doing this in person.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've talked to somebody on the podcast and then got to talk to them in person.
Yeah, man,
So
we're breaking new ground.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
First.
So
I love it.
last time we talked to you, obviously we talked a little bit about Gotham, but you had mentioned, I think the following weekend, you were going to Atlantic City Boardwalk Con.
Right.
It was their first year. It was your first con.
Yes.
So, you've done a number of cons since then. What's the experience been like?
You know, I've learned a lot over the last, essentially it's been a year. I think was that May or something like that?
Yeah, I
towards
think
the
so.
end of
May.
first season of Gotham.
Yeah, so yeah, in basically a year I've learned a lot because, what the first thing I learned was, you better get your act together and know a little bit of what you're talking about because, people know and they care and I love that. And there's a definite kind of familial kind of camaraderie that happens at these things, and it's really cool to be a part of that because not every show gets the honor of being part of that world. I was thinking about my buddies on Mad Men, which is a great show, but they're not doing cons. It's opened up a little bit, but certainly there's a certain kind of show that gets that kind of convention love. So I really feel like I'm fortunate to be on a show that gets to do this. It's a fun way to interact with fans. I'm always learning stuff from fans about what they like and what they don't like, and a lot of them are not afraid to tell you. And I love that because it kind of helps give a little litmus test of like where we are and what people think. And oftentimes I will go back and talk to the writers and creators and say, like, just so you know, people are whatever, are love or hate X, Y, and Z. So yeah, it's been very educational.
Have you done a bunch between Atlantic City and this one?
I have, yeah.
Are you addicted now?
I've done a lot. Yeah, I've done a lot more than I thought I would. So yeah, it's been really good though. It's enables me to see parts of the country and reconnect with old friends. I think that's probably the part I love the most is, in the green room or after hours, getting to hang with the other actors, some of which I've known for years and some of which I'm just meeting. We did one in Blackpool in England last 2 weeks ago, and I had my wife and my son there, and there was an actor from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and another one from Agent Carter, and then they had their kids there, so the kids were all playing and running around, and we were all, having a drink and comparing stories, and so it was really a cool thing, and not something I expected,
Yeah, and have you gotten to do, I know you have a panel today, have you gotten to do a few panels?
Yeah.
What's that like? Because, up there on a stage and basically just getting, a lot of them are Q&As from fans and stuff, and some of them are a little more interview-like.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot about what people care about just based on the questions they ask, and what people are excited about. And look, who wouldn't want to, walk out to, hundreds of people that are excited to have you there and love your show? It's a great thing. I've been doing this as a professional career, for, closer to 20 years than to 15. And this is the first time I've been on a show where, it's at that level of, fan craziness. And it's really cool. It's something that, I think every actor wants to be a part of that.
Yeah. You mentioned like the camaraderie with all the actors and everything. Adam and I just got a small taste of that ourselves walking over there. Because you ran into Katrina Law from Arrow, who Adam got to interview at Harrisburg a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And just to see the way you two it's just two normal friends just meeting up and hanging out. So, I guess you get a lot of that when you go to these cons and you run into these people.
And Katrina's a great example of somebody like, I know Katrina's husband and some friends. We all have these mutual friends, but, we hadn't really ever spent time together. And then you get to these cons, and that's when you finally get to actually meet face-to-face and spend time together. And she's great. And that's a great example of, one of the kind of fun perks that I did not anticipate from this whole exciting thing.
Yeah. Have you had, we've heard stories, obviously, of some people. I think there was a story it came out of Wizard World with Chris Evans. You know, there's fans that kind of freak out a little bit every once in a while.
Yeah, sure.
Have you experienced any of the crazy fandom yet through all the panel?
No one's bitten me like they did for to Norman Reedus. Although I was at that convention when he got bit, and I didn't understand what people were talking about. I couldn't actually imagine that. I'll say that there are definitely some interesting folks that maybe are not fully aware of social boundaries. And it's kind of a catch-22 because I want to be myself and be who I am, which is I'm always happy to meet people, but sometimes people don't realize that there is a boundary to that, and they feel like they know you and that you're best friends, and even though I would love to be best friends with everybody, that really doesn't work out.
You don't have enough time in your day.
Exactly, yeah. So sometimes you have to be polite and say, I can't go to Outback with you tonight, as much as I would like to. Exactly. But I've had no bad experiences other than just a few people,
No crazy tattoos on arms.
No. I'm waiting for my first Butch tattoo. So yeah, exactly.
You speak of Butch, and your character from Gotham. There's obviously the show has changed. The spectrum of the show has changed since the last time we talked to you. Now there's a ton of new villains that have come in. From an outside perspective, what do you think Butch thinks about now there's a lot more villains out there to compete with on the show. What do you think his perspective of that is now? Because he's not exactly a large man on a totem pole now with all these other villains.
Danny Cannon, who's one of our writer directors, he kind of is one of our big bosses, said to me early on last season, he said the thing about Butch is he's a survivor. He's survived in Gotham this whole time by knowing, who to side with, when, he's got his Rolodex full of people he can call. He knows how to, work under the shadows. He knows Gotham as well as anyone. He's raised in it. He was raised in the underbelly of Gotham. So that was really helpful to me because now that put that in perspective of okay, here's a guy that no matter who's on top, he knows how to get to where he needs to be. And that's why I thought it was really cool last year when he was kind of the king of Gotham after Penguin went down, that he almost didn't like it. I loved it. And that was something that they wrote in, that he felt uncomfortable with it. And one of the cool scenes from last year was when Tabitha shows up and she's lost, her partner and I've lost my partner, and we're kind of both kind of flailing a little bit, and we find each other. I didn't see that coming, and I thought it was a really cool thing because it was two people that do better with somebody else, and they come together, two very different people. But I think that going forward, we just started shooting season 3, and I think you'll see some more of that dynamic come through, and I'm going to be very interested to see where it goes.
I know.
I just want to stay alive. Let's be honest.
Well, we want you to stay alive.
That's the key.
Exactly. I'll talk to you next year.
Who do you think, from your personal perspective, who do you think Butch would be better suited with teaming up with out of all these new villains that have come in?
Well, it's a good question. I think that. I think that the Butch Penguin thing worked really well. And what was cool about that, though, was the only reason those two guys teamed up in the first place because he was kind of under mind control, so he was kind of forced into it. But then they kind of wound up working well together, and so I think you'll see some more of that tandem come up in season 3. How long that will last, who knows? I'll be very interested to see what happens with some of the new villains and how that all works. There's definitely gonna be some surprises this season, which I will not divulge, but. The thing about Butch is I think he's a chameleon. He can go any which way. He knows how to adapt. Yeah.
Well, before we let you get back to the con, they brought last season especially. They brought in a lot of known DC characters. Is there one that, and even if this person's going to show up in season 3 and you just can't tell us, is there one that you want to see on screen that we haven't seen yet, good or bad?
I don't know. I have some favorites. Bane is obviously a good one. Solomon Grundy, I think, is always.
I didn't even think about yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You know, so there's. I mean, so I'm selfishly excited about the
that would actually be a really
those.
cool twist if Butch is the one that becomes Bane.
Yeah, right.
That would be really.
That would be
cool.
great. I would love that. But
look at the writers on that.
Yeah, exactly. Could you call Bruno Heller, please?
There you go.
But I think those would be great to see. I mean, I love that they kind of hinted at Killer Croc a little bit with in the season finale last year, and so who knows? I mean, I'm just mostly for me. I just love to sit back and watch what's coming next.
Yeah.
I can look at it with the kind of clear eyes and just like, okay, what is it? Whatever you bring is going to be good. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what makes you so likable is the fact that you're not just a part of the show, but you're a part of the show as a fan of all of this. I mean, you're not just. It's not just a job to you. Like, you're actually a fan of everything that you're going through.
Sure.
And you take that step back and you look at it and you're like, wow, like, this is everything that's going on when we're doing this.
Yeah, and that's new to me. I mean, I admit that I wasn't a comic book guy growing up. I mean, I really was mostly introduced to Batman through, a bit with the animated, but mostly the movies, and so I've had to learn a lot in the last couple of years, but I've really enjoyed it. And so I get to kind of, it's good to be a kid again and kind of, start fresh with it, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we'll let you get back over to the con, but we appreciate you spending some time
Always
with us.
Always a pleasure,
again.
guys. Yeah.
And one final question, since you brought it up, we'll wrap up with this. You mentioned you got into this by the movie Batman. Favorite movie Batman?
I'm a Christian Bale guy, although I did like Ben Affleck's version.
Oh, man.
I got to be there for the premiere, and that was really something. So I'm really, that movie I think had some holes in it, but I think that his Batman standalone movie, I'm really excited to see
Written and directed by him as well, which is
we'll have to get you on later in the year and just talk all about the holes.
Yeah.
Because that would fill another podcast.
Exactly.
So.
Well, and I would really like Butch Gilzean to make an appearance in Affleck's Batman. So if you guys could see about organizing that
we'll
for
pull
me.
some strings. We'll see what we can do.
I appreciate that.
So, Drew, thanks again.
Pleasure.
We'll let you get back to the con.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll be back with more coverage of Heroes and Villains later.